Hi guys, it's Mrs. Alberts here, and welcome back to my channel. Right, continuing Act 1's discussion with Danielle Twier. Then we jump to scene 2, which is in Wolwekraal Langekloof. This is still part of your exposition because we are still just meeting the characters. So your milieu is your Langekloof. It's Ling and Fila's house. The atmosphere is light. There's happy children playing voices. They are chasing the ostrich in the scene. There's a discussion between Fila and Seling about the ostriches. Seling sees a car. Not a car, broom broom, a car, a horse-drawn carriage coming up the road. Then we have something that wasn't in the movie, where Fila sees a hawk close by. I think I said falcon to my kids. I didn't know it was a hawk. But she she yells at the hawk for catching her most beautiful chick the previous day, but this time she has closed them up. This is kind of ironic because this now tells you that something bad is coming. It's ominous. Later on, when you know that she talks about Benjamin being her beautiful child, it kind of rings in the ear that this is the day, and she kind of had maybe known that something bad was going to happen. The census people becoming the hawk in the situation, and then Benjamin being the most beautiful chick. Then we've got the horse-drawn carriage arriving. They think that it is preachers. Right, so now, before then, Fila now gives you a very big monologue. Now, that monologue basically just tells you what is the Langekloof. Remember, everybody has not seen the Langekloof. They have not been to the Langekloof. So she explains, what do they make their money out of? What does it look like? It's a beautiful just explanation of the area. And then Fila says it might be preachers arriving in the horse-drawn carriage. Now there's irony here as well, because preachers bringing the word of God gives you good news, and as we know, this is not good news coming. Now it goes from the exposition to the moment when things are set into motion. Remember, the census people gets the ball rolling by basically starting everything, talking about Benjamin probably being somebody else's child. This sets your story in motion. Right, so the census people arrive. They are known as Lang and Dikke because they do not introduce themselves. They are being very disrespectful, calling Fila woman. They jokingly refer to when they were born by saying, during which plague or pestilence were you born in, and what miserable time, because as you remember, Seling could not remember or does not know when he was born. Right, so what information do they want from Fila? It's basically full names and birth dates, how many children, do the land they are on belong to them, do they have tenants on or farm laborers on the land, what do they make their living out of, in which church do they belong, such your typical information that they need for counting the people in the country. As you know, here all hell breaks loose. Benjamin arrives on the scene. There are some physical reactions from the adults in the area. We've got Lange that takes off his glasses quickly. Dikke's mouth drops open. Seling is getting very nervous. Fila is starting to pray that they don't take Benjamin. Then there's the discussion. Where did Fila come by Benjamin? She says that it's her Hanskind, her foundling. She says it's about 9 years ago, in the middle of the night, in front of their house. She didn't know how old he was, but she guessed that he was around 3 years old. The census people don't believe her. She further explains that she heard the child crying. She opened the door, and she thinks somebody left him there. They are the census people are very upset about this, because why did she keep the child? He is white. She was supposed to tell the proper authorities. She says she did try. She went to the magistrate. There was no magistrate on the in the town yet. She went twice to the Veldkornet, which is like a local sheriff, but he wasn't there. Petrus Zondag, as you know, is the local white farmer. He wasn't there. He was by the ocean. And after that, the child was so attached to her that she just kept him. When Benjamin refers to them as boss, they get very angry, and you can see it in their physical reaction when they look at each other. Now, it's getting very tense here. Dikke is now suddenly thinking about the child that went missing 9 years ago in the forest. He mentions the whole scenario that we basically read in the first scene. It's all about how he was also called to the magistrate to help with the search party. The boy was never found, and the boy was around 3 years old. Fila gets very upset because they are now basically stating that a boy of 3 years old went from the forest all the way to the Lange Kloof. Now, on a map that I will include for you to look at separately, it is a very, very vast distance. And apart from that, there's all these mountains. If you look at the background, I used Lange Kloof picture in the background. He had to definitely come through this area here, which is a very mountainous area. It is impossible for a 3-year-old child to do that. The census people now want to take Benjamin with them because this is now a case for higher authority. And then we have that beautiful scene where Fila says, dan gaan julle my eers vandag met keel afsny, showing that she is willing to die for her son. This is her son, and she doesn't see the color difference. She sees him as her boy, and they will have to kill her before she lets them take him. Then there's a 3-month gap from when this happened to the next scene. Fila is now speaking over the speaker, which means this is now, she becomes the narrator. She tells you her thoughts and feelings, and she says February, Maart, April en voorwinter, and she says that she has now stopped waking up every morning thinking that this is the day that they are going to come back for Benjamin. A time jump, not a scene change. We go to 3 months later when Fila is feeling more comfortable that they're not coming back. This is a scene where she is telling everybody to get Paulie and Skopper together in one camp, and they will make turns to look after Paulie and Skopper. And we know up until now that Paulie and Skopper, they haven't found favor with each other. They were not mating. Remember that this is a very important thing for Fila, for them to mate, because that is what they want to build their farm on. They want to be ostrich farmers. She wants to sell the chicks so that she can buy the land that the Lagans is owning next to them, so that she can put it on Benjamin's name. This is all part of her plan to make him independent young man one day when he is older, and this is her dream. So this is a very important scene to show that finally Paulie has started dancing. Now, I explained to my students in my class how the mating rituals of the ostrich work. I don't think it will be as funny if I do it over the speaker like this, because I'm not there to show you, but see it like the Skopper, the male, is flaunting his big feathers, and he's the pretty one, remember? And he will be strutting around, showing his big muscles, a little Nikki Beach if you want, a guy pumping the shoulders, wearing his best attire, and he's parading up and down in front of Paulie, his future mate. But nothing will happen until Paulie responds with a dance. So she dances to show him that she is ready to mate with him. And in this scene, finally, Paulie has started dancing, and then Benjamin is very excited and he goes and calls Fila. And then there is this explosion of laughter and happy, and everybody is just exclaiming that Paulie is dancing, which means that a future for them in the ostrich farming business is going to start. What is evident in scene 2 that comes to light and is a very important motif here is the racial segregation. Ladies and gents, remember, you cannot say apartheid. Apartheid is something that happened in the 1950s and 60s. This is the 1800s. This is racial segregation. Later on, we'll talk about class distinction as well. But here we have the government, white people, the census people, Lange and Dikke. They are arriving at a colored family's home and they are seeing that there's a white child. That is against the law. It is wrong. And therefore, they want to move the white child, remove the white child away from the colored family. And immediately here, this is what I think emotionally draws us into the story, because we get angry. Because just because a child is white and staying with a colored family, why is that wrong? Why would you take a child away from his mother, the only mother that he knows, just because of the color of his skin? So this is the tension, the conflict, and the problem basically that arises from this scene. And it's very important, ladies and gents, that you realize that it is the census people that sets the whole story in motion. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you've got any questions, you can follow me on Instagram at Afrikaans Classroom. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos, like and share.